WrestleMania 41 Night 1. So the show opens up, Triple H opens the show, he does this welcome to WrestleMania. Pyro goes off, the next thing you know, there's these dancers here. We're already at an ad for Fatal Fury, which is a fighting game. So yeah, that happens, and then we go straight into opening act, Jey Uso's entrance. You got some men, they run down the ramp with flags that say Yeet on them. There's cheerleaders in the crowd. Then eventually you see Jey come out from the top. He's gonna make his way down about 200 steps this time. Then we get to the Spanish commentary, and they're yeeting in Spanish or whatever. This was about an 8-minute entrance. And then Gunther comes out, just standard 2-minute entrance. So now they're both in the ring. Alicia Taylor does her thing. To the surprise of absolutely nobody, Jey is the new World Heavyweight Champion. Before I go any further, Jey Uso fans, listen up real quick, because I'm about to tell you everything that's about to happen from this point forward, for as long as this reign goes. You realize if Jey Uso doesn't magically just start putting on bangers in the ring from this point forward, the shift is about to begin. Jey Uso is a babyface. This means that now he's going to be beating people who are perceived to be significantly better than him, and he's going to be doing it clean. The more this happens, if he hasn't leveled up to look at least decently up to par, then best believe this is about to be like the most heat he's ever going to receive when it comes to hate, whether it's online or in the crowd. People might actually start booing. 11 months ago, Jey wrestled Ilya Dragunov in a King of the Ring quarterfinal and beat him. And that was already controversial for fans. Ilya Dragunov, fresh out of NXT high school as far as kayfabe and your logic is concerned. This proves that people still peep game when it comes to the in-ring. T-shirt sales and crowd participation gimmicks might be enough for you to say that he's championship material, but the other half of the wrestling fan base that you share with, you might see them start coming through is all I'm saying. Like, imagine what would happen if Jey went on to beat like AJ Styles or something like that. But in reality, that's probably not going to happen because luckily Triple H has been hard at work, making all his heels look like untalented loser idiots. So I'm sure he'll finesse a nice path for Jey to start giving out charity title shots to like mid-carders or something, because they have to save face and avoid what could have been the real competition for the B belt, because they didn't want to give Jey the big W belt, which would have been a better storybook ending. So anyways, Jey versus Gunther. The bell rings. They're both staring at each other. Jey literally sits in the corner in the middle turnbuckle. And then about 30 seconds after the bell, they finally tie up. Gunther overpowers him, pushes him into the corner, then chops him. Jey retaliates with a forearm, it looks like. Gunther gets rocked enough to, I guess, fall down and bail out the ring, surprised. I'm basically just going to go over key points. But yeah, Jey does a scoop slam, and then Gunther, there's lots of chops and just wearing down. Slow-paced match. Gunther goes for a superplex. They're up on a turnbuckle. After he hits the superplex, he goes for his like dropkick powerbomb combo sequence. But when he goes for the powerbomb, when I tell you this is the softest powerbomb I've ever, this thing made no noise. It was like no impact. Gunther is very sloppy with his powerbombs, I noticed. This happens like 50% of the time. It's very like coin flip. So as he's picking him up, before the upwards momentum is finished, it's like he's already trying to like bring them back down. So the person near enough ends up landing like ass first. So yes, weak ass powerbomb. It didn't finish the match anyway, 2 count. And then commentary says, how did Jey kick out of that? Gunther gets mad, he starts roughing him up before going for another powerbomb. But then Jey counters that with a Hurricane Rana, hits a spear, then goes for the Uso splash, but then that's a 2 count also. And then here we go. So Gunther goes out the ring, grabs his belt. It looks like he's leaving. Ref is talking to him. As Jey's in the background, he's actually like starting to run towards him. He's going for like a suicide dive. Then Gunther says to the ref, he's like, watch out behind you. So the ref dives out the way, hint hint, as an excuse basically to not see Gunther use the belt as a weapon on Jey Uso mid-dive. Dude, Gunther is done. He has to cheat now on Jey Uso of all people. After how far he's come, with his whole thing being like a unique, legitimately skilled heel in kayfabe, which was like his whole allure or whatever. And now this is where we're at. So he hits him with the belt. The ref doesn't see it. Gunther climbs to the top for his ugly slash. Another 2 count. Gunther's mad. Starts hammering down elbows on Jey in like a seated position. So now the match, they're playing it in like underdog mode. Jey Uso's getting chopped. But then he starts laughing. He's like asking for more and whatever. He's still getting beat up, but you know, storytelling or whatever. Then they start trading blows, and then Jey wins the exchange with a big clothesline. So now Jey's overpowering Gunther. Gunther goes for a rear naked choke. Then Jey counters and gets behind them and does like a little German suplex. Then he goes for a spear from the corner, but he gets met with the dropkick. Gunther goes for his powerbomb again, but then Jey reverses it and powerbombs Gunther instead. Hits a super kick 2 times because, you know, we can't just do one. Yo, let me tell you, I shit you not. Okay, a little sidetrack here. So in 2K, tell me why I was running another Com versus Com match. My Com and then Jey Uso was in the match. Tell me why the Jey Uso AI super kicked me, picked me back up, super kicked me again, picked me back up a 3rd time, and did another super kick. Like, they try to make lore accurate Jey Uso out here in 2K. Anyways, so he hits the super kick 2 times, then he does a spear, then he goes for the Uso splash 3 times. He does 3 Uso splashes, doesn't pin. Instead, he goes for the rear naked choke and taps out Gunther for the win. Gunther cannot come back from this. This is the biggest finessing. I swear to God, Jey Uso has to have a 5-star match every time now because ain't nobody's going to believe this. I was saying earlier, the reason why I'm happy for Jey Uso the person and the fans, whatever, you got your moment, but you don't even realize you've been finessed. They did not want to give Jade the main title. All this does is prove that this secondary title is B tier as hell. They didn't want to give the Cody title to Jey. Anyways, but yeah, that was the end of the match. I guess it wasn't terrible. I gave it a 3 stars, so it was like, pretty mid or whatever, but it wasn't terrible. Main thing I was looking out for is that Jey at least did better than last year's WrestleMania and did at least more than like 3 moves. So he fulfilled that, so it's, it's whatever. Let's see where this ring goes. So the next match was New Day versus the War Raiders. And immediately, I just want to make a point real quick. I don't think I'm minority in this, but I definitely see people speaking a little bit loudly on the New Day's new entrance music. People out here are really trying to say that the old New Day music is better than what they got now. I think this new music's one of the better ones. It's definitely better than their old one. The old song was like 4 notes on loop. Sitting there was like, ding, 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 ding. You're trying to tell me that's more like what? But anyways, yeah. So New Day comes out. Then Xavier, as they get like closer to the ring, he walks up to like George Kittens or whatever. I think he's like a football player. I don't know. They're talking shit back and forth. Then the War Raiders come out in Clash of Clans outfits. If anybody's played that mobile game, I guess. So people didn't think this match deserved a Mania spot because they thought it was more deserving to go to the Street Profits. So the main thing I was looking out for in this match to see if it was at least a good enough match to justify its placement. Long story short, the match was all right. I think I already predicted New Day to win. That was pretty obvious because the whole War Raiders reign, they had no story-driven feuds at all. Also, another hot take. I might be the only one who likes what people are calling the pizza tag titles more than the other ones. The gold on these belts look better, and I like how that maroon red pops out in combination with it. I guess people don't like the shape of the belts, but to me they look more like coins. But yeah, so during the match, key points. So I guess Ivar did a moonsault and almost killed himself. His moonsault damn near enough looked like a mix of Lita's moonsault and a swanton because he barely finished the flip. But yeah, the New Day hit their tag finisher and then they literally ran away with the belts up the ramp. For people who don't remember their tag finisher, Kofi bends over somebody on over his knee backwards, and then Xavier jumps off and basically does a coup de grace to the chest or some shit. But yeah, anyways, New Day won. New tag champions. This was another predictable match because if New Day didn't win this was about to be one of the biggest fumbles in heel turn history. They already been trash with the pacing and story progression, but anyways, I gave this match a 3 star. Next match was Jade versus Naomi. So this match I was actually most hyped for from a storyline perspective. Hype package was pretty good. Let me tell. Okay, so Naomi debuted new entrance music tonight, and it sounds hype. I want to hear it clean, but from what I could hear, just through the crowd and just the natural noise of the atmosphere or whatever. First of all, it was metal, which I like that they did that. And I think it fits Naomi's new theme. It was pretty hardcore. But yeah, Naomi's outfit was slaying. Then Jade had her entrance. But before the entrance, they played it was like a weather report. I thought the shit went to the commercial for a second, but then I realized what was happening as soon as the guy started telling the forecast. I was like, okay, this guy's about to say a storm is coming. This is so lame. But anyways, so Jade comes out. Her outfit also slaying. I don't know if I'm going to have pictures on screen, by the way, when I'm saying this, because last time I did that, I somehow got copywritten, so I don't know how other people are doing it and getting away with it. But so yeah, key points in the match are cool spots. Naomi did a draping X Factor to the outside of the ring. So she was hanging Jade off the apron and then just took her down to the floor. Another spot, Naomi was on the middle turnbuckle. She dived at Jade, but Jade caught her in suplex position and then just turned it into a jackhammer, which was pretty hype. And another thing later in the match, Naomi and Jade were up on the top turnbuckle, and then Naomi did a wheelbarrow bulldog from the top. That looks pretty cool. Followed by a split-legged moonsault, but then it was a 2 count. And then this shit was crazy here. Okay, so Jade picked up Naomi in electric chair position. So I just thought she was going to do electric chair. But no, she pops her up, spins around and turns it into a powerbomb. I was like, holy shit, okay, that's great. Jade's gonna be crazy. But yeah, then she goes for Jaded and she gets the 3. So this was another one that I'm pretty sure everybody predicted that Jade was gonna win. But despite that, I still gave it a 4 star. I thought there was a lot of hype stuff in this match. So shout outs to the women. Next match was LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the US Championship. LA Knight had a little car entrance. He arrived in a car, and then from there on it was basically just his normal entrance. And Jacob Fatu comes out, had a werewolf mask, in a werewolf mask that had dreads, it looked like. What happened in this match? LA Knight ran up to the top turnbuckle to meet Jacob Fatu, who was already sitting up there, and then hit a super German suplex, which basically sent Fatu into a full flip, landing on his stomach. Other than that, the match was kind of pretty standard what you would expect. Jacob Fatu hit 3 running ass attacks and then a swanton. That hit for a 2 count. Jacob goes for his pretty much, I'm just gonna call it prettiest moonsault ever because it's basically the same thing except he skips 1 rope. So he goes for the moonsault. But then LA Knight catches him in midair for the BFT, which is a new thing he's starting to do now. He's starting to do like RKO out of nowhere type shits with his BFT. But then Jacob was close enough to grab the ropes. Jacob hit a Samoan drop in the middle turnbuckle and then hits 2 prettiest moonsaults. And then Jacob won. So we got a new US champion and Jacob Fatu. This I also gave a 4-star. Like, I'm not surprised Jacob won. They've been pushing him like a monster. But yeah, it was still a good match. Hopefully, this gives LA Knight the opportunity to move up into the main event scene. Next match was El Grande Americano versus Rey Fenix because Rey Mysterio got injured a day before WrestleMania. That is crazy bad luck, yo. But this opened up a hella huge window of opportunity for Rey Fenix, though, who would have otherwise not been on the card. So Rey basically got his first WrestleMania, like, what was it, like 3 appearances into his signing? Because he probably would have had to wait till all the way next year if this wasn't the case. Shouts to him, though, on a day's notice, running a whole match with, should I just call him Chad Gable? Everybody knows it's Chad Gable at this point. But yeah, considering the circumstances, this match was also pretty good. Let's go through it. So El Grande got a special entrance. He had a mariachi band, like, with lucha masks on, play him to the ring or whatever. I actually like this storyline and this gimmick. Some people don't like it because, I don't know, it's like is it a mockery of Chad Gable? Like, people like the character work stuff, which is why Chelsea Green's popular. I think everybody's supposed to be in on the fact that it's Chad. Because if you follow the whole storyline, obviously Chad went to Mexico or whatever, met the guy in the dark alleyway. Dude gave him a box, he opened it, and then there was a mask in there for what we guessed. But anyways, the match. So Chad Gable comes out, the screen's filtered in like sepia tone or whatever, and then Rey Fenix comes out. And I'm going to say right now, out of Penta and Rey Fenix, I like Penta's entrance way more. I probably like Penta altogether when I think about it. But anyways, reason why I say that, because Rey Fenix's lights, first of all, I actually don't like his music that much. And the lights go crazy. They're trying to induce a seizure on somebody out here. So yeah, Rey Fenix does his entrance, which is actually better on a normal stage because this WrestleMania stage was so big that the pyro wasn't really behind him. It was like way off in the background. But yeah, Vikingo was there from AEW. He was in the audience. Grande actually went up to him and pushed him or whatever so that Vikingo kicks Chad Gable in the face. All right, so some of the stuff I liked from this match. So there was a point where Rey Fenix was standing on the apron. He slingshot himself into the ring, but then Grande catches him and with the same momentum just transitions it into like the cleanest Northern Lights suplex, which looked legit as hell. Grande, this is how good Chad Gable is. Like, he's added more new moves to his moveset to kind of mask the fact that he's somebody else. This guy did a 450 moonsault. Now, I've seen double moonsault, but 450 moonsault is still something that you don't really see that. So that was like pretty crazy. So yeah, El Grande tries to unmask Rey Fenix during the match. Rey goes for that tightrope walk punt thing he does, the adios amigo, I think he calls it. But El Grande pulls the ropes from under him, so he slips. And then while the ref's checking on him, that's when Chad Gable starts putting in that metal plate into his mask. So I guess Fenix caught on to him doing that because he counters a headbutt with a schoolboy, then goes for a Hurricane Rana, and then he does the goodbye amigo again. But this time, I guess when he kicked Gable in the face, his foot made contact with the metal plate in his head, which hurt his foot. So now he's on the ground, he's holding his foot. So Grande goes to capitalize with an ankle lock, and I wish the match ended here, but it didn't. Just saying. Fenix counters the ankle lock into a pin, like a roll-up. Then Grande escapes and Fenix runs to the corner for a springboard, but then he's met in midair with that headbutt. Grande went up to the top and then hit another diving headbutt, and then that was the end of the match. But yeah, good match. I give this a 4 stars, sorry. And on one day's notice, that's pretty crazy, so shouts to them. So before the next match, WWE had like an announcement. So basically, they bought AAA, which is like the luchador Mexican promotion, which I used to watch that back in the day. I seen AAA matches back in like 2007, I think it was. I was familiar with them. I haven't watched them since. I don't know what they're doing nowadays, but yeah, I guess WWE owns them now, which I don't know if that's a good. I wasn't necessarily hyped for that. It feels like they're trying to stick their fingers into all the pie. So Shawn Michaels came out to announce that WrestleMania was sold out. And then the DX music played, and I was immediately reminded how iconic some old themes used to be. All right, next match was Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. Tiffany had a special entrance. So it was like a Barbie type of thing. So there's 3 giant Barbie like toy boxes, I guess, that they unveiled, and there was 3 Tiffany Strattons in them. And they're all like emoting and shit. But the one in the middle was the real one because she had the championship. But there was like 2 on the sides. It was actually like not a hologram. It kind of just looked like a video recording or whatever, or playback. But yeah, so then she comes out the middle one. And then that was like her little entrance gimmick there. Then Charlotte Flair comes out. Another car entrance. She rolls up in a Rolls Royce or whatever. And before the match starts, I just wanted to say this was probably the most unpredictable match for me. Like, I thought Tiffany was going to be fine. I thought she was going to retain. But I would not have been surprised if Charlotte won. Because especially with the whole controversy, I didn't know what was going to become of that. Anyways, so spots in this match. Charlotte does Stephanie Vaquera's move. And yes, I'm calling it Stephanie Vaquera's move. People make the argument that Charlotte used to do this in like 2013 or whatever. But she stopped doing it. And it's not until Vaquera made it her thing and it started getting attraction that now Charlotte wants to try and steal that spotlight back. I guess for anybody who doesn't know the move I'm talking about. So the move is basically she gets you in a head scissors and then basically drives her knees into the ground while your head is still between her legs, slamming your head into the ground repeatedly. And then as she's doing it, the crowd's booing because, I guess, because of the implications. And then Charlotte starts sticking her tongue out like she's trying to be hot with it or something. I was like, okay, put it away. Charlotte hit a sit-out powerbomb for a close 2.9 count, which was kind of scary, to be honest. And then Michael Cole said something funny. So Charlotte was climbing the ropes, and he says, "Remember, Tiffany Stratton isn't the only one in this match that has a gorgeous moonsault." But everybody knows Charlotte doesn't do moonsaults, she does backflips. There's a difference. Because she cannot control that thing a lot of times. Tiffany climbs up to the top to stop Charlotte. They fight out of the position, and then Charlotte goes for a backflip to the outside, which probably is not a good idea, but Tiffany pushed her back into the ring. Tiffany started attacking Charlotte's knee. Storytelling. Then Charlotte wraps Tiffany's knee around the post. She locks in a figure four, but then Tiffany attacks the knee to get out. Does prettiest moonsault, but Charlotte gets her knees up, and then there was a scary roll-up if you're a Tiffany fan. This shit was like, I thought it was over. Charlotte goes up for a moonsault. Tiffany jumps up to meet her. Charlotte front suplex drops her. Then hits a top rope natural selection. 2 count. Then Charlotte starts storytelling again, talking out loud, talking about, "You're never going to replace me." Attacks Tiffany's knee again, goes for the figure 8, but gets countered into a roll-up, but then they roll through and then stand up. Tiffany hits Charlotte. Charlotte tries to retaliate with a spear, but then misses and like collides with the turnbuckle in the corner. Tiffany does an Alabama slammer into the turnbuckle, but it was like sloppy because Charlotte like landed on her feet first and was basically standing up straight and then had to fall back herself. But then Tiffany did a rolling senton into the prettiest moonsault ever for the 1, 2, 3, and Tiffany retains. So Tiffany's still your champion. Tiffany fans were probably scared as fuck during this match. I'd have to imagine. Not gonna lie, low key, I was kind of hoping Charlotte would win, just so I could watch the world burn so you guys know what it's like. But yeah, I gave this match, I gave it a 3 stars. Nothing too crazy happened in the match because I guess Charlotte's still like trying to be safe, so can't do too much of whatever. And then the storytelling shit didn't really add much for me. And then we got CM Punk versus Seth versus Roman. Night 1's main event. So Seth Rollins comes out in a pillowcase and some bed sheets, and he's got a flamethrower because burn it down. Then the lights go out, I guess to symbolize that it's time to go to bed because he's dressed like one. But I can't sleep because the crowd's singing that stupid song. Then the lights come back on. Now he's wearing a white suit, but he's standing like Jesus as they shine like 50 lights on him. Dog, if Seth was Jesus, go ahead and send me to hell right now. Roman comes out next. I guess they wanted to give Punk the last entrance to make it feel more of like a special Mania main event gift to him, even though it's only night 1. But yeah, Roman just comes out like standard entrance. And then CM Punk. So before CM Punk's actual entrance, they actually played like a little video package. I believe it was like his WWE like promo debut. It was like young CM Punk, and he was talking about how, hey, don't let the tattoos fool you. I don't drink or smoke because I'm straight edge, or whatever he said. And then the background music was like a slow piano rendition of This Fire Burns by Killswitch Engage, which I thought was pretty cool. And then in living color, plays CM Punk to the ring. And CM Punk comes out with Paul Heyman. So yeah, commentary before the match even starts, they're already like pushing the Paul Heyman might be slimy narrative. Talking about he might betray, whose side is he on, blah, blah. Bell rings. CM Punk rolls out of the ring to troll and ask Heyman for wisdom. And then before you know it, Seth and CM Punk, they end up brawling through the crowd, which I hate these. They I guess they do it for the fans and the audience, but this shit is never hype for me when they take the fight out there. And they're out there for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. And the whole time, like, where the hell is Roman? Like, he's just not there. So it turned out he was waiting for them to come back around. And then he just dived over the top barricade and just landed on both of them. You got the crowd chants talking about, we want tables. So then Roman starts to clear, of course, what would be the Spanish announce table first. But it's okay because these shits don't break anymore, so we don't have to feel bad for them. Oh, and then this happened. So CM Punk did a double neckbreaker DDT to Roman and Seth. So he had Roman in neckbreaker position while having Seth in DDT position. But then Michael Cole calls it. He calls it like a double DDT. He said a DDT and an inverted DDT. Then they play the replay, and Pat McAfee says, cutter DDT. Now, I've noticed, for whatever reason, commentary been calling all kinds of moves wrong. I don't know what happened to Michael Cole, but no disrespect to Michael Cole, but nobody's beating the GOAT JR. Prime JR, you're not touching that. I'm sorry. I know they want to start the propaganda of Michael Cole has always been like the great now because JR's not with us, so now you're trying to like glaze Michael Cole or whatever. But Prime JR was peak. Anyways, so in this match, there was a lot of like interactions that were just, it was like a lot of finisher stacking or finisher reversals and stuff like that. So Rollins, he went for a pedigree on Punk, but then Punk countered and got Rollins into GTS position, which left him open to get speared by Roman while Seth was up on like in the air on his shoulders. So then when Seth got back down, he went to pedigree Roman, but then Roman reversed it. He did like a back body drop, I believe, but then Seth landed on his feet. Roman runs the ropes. He goes for the spear, but then Seth catches the spear in midair with the pedigree, which that was one of the cooler ones. I thought that was hype, or that was decent, I'll say. So he hits the pedigree, and then he actually goes for the stomp after too. Hits it, dumps Punk out the ring, goes to pin Roman, 2.9 count. What else is worth mentioning? Camera checks in on Paul Heyman, who's looking troubled for storytelling purposes. Seth's trying to talk Roman into like taking out Punk, because Punk's like the devil or something. Roman's looking conflicted, like he wasn't already beating on Punk during the match anyway. And not like two people could win this match anyway, so I don't know what the hell. Anyways, then Roman, I guess, suddenly decides to go with it. So he calls out for the shield bomb, a nostalgia moment. Seth and Roman about to team up on Punk. So Seth's ready. He's got CM Punk in position. He's about to set him up. But then Roman slaps Seth and then powerbombs Punk himself through the table. And it actually breaks. This is the first time I'm seeing these new tables break. And then he powerbombs Seth through the other table, and that one breaks too. Rolls Seth back into the ring, runs the ropes for a spear, 2 count. So then Roman starts having like a mini meltdown. Oh, and then this was the one that everybody was hyped for. So CM Punk does a GTS to Seth. So it goes GTS, Seth is wobbled and out of the picture for a second. And then Roman comes in and spears Punk right off of the GTS. And then off of the spear, while Roman's down, Seth comes back in, hits a stomp, and then basically just collapses out of exhaustion or whatever, and then all three are down. And then a cutscene starts playing. Heyman goes off, gets a chair, but who's it for? Storytelling. Both Punk and Roman see that Heyman's got a chair. They're both like, give it to me. Give it to me. What are you doing? Give it to me. But then Paul gives it to CM Punk. And everyone's like, oh shit. Did you see that? These Pauls ain't loyal. So then Paul, with an exhausted CM Punk, helps him walk over to Roman Reigns to lay the beats down with a chair. But then suddenly Heyman drops to his knee and then hits CM Punk with a low blow. Storytelling. The Roman Reigns is laughing. He's like, yes, I knew you were there for me all along, my wise man. You had me. It was a ruse the whole time. Then Heyman gets down on both knees and presents the chair, the steel chair, to his tribal chief, Roman Reigns, who takes the chair. And then Heyman directs him over to Seth Rollins, who is open near the far ropes, basically in like 619 position. And Heyman's telling him to go hit him. And then everybody knew what was up already. Roman starts walking over with the chair. He literally like kind of just moves Heyman to the side and like behind him and say, oh, watch, stand back. I got this. And then people knew what was up. Heyman drops down to his knee and hits him with an extra gay low blow because after, like off the hit, this guy was like all up in his junk, like moving back and forth. Like, you gotta say pause after hitting one of those, Heyman. Like, what the hell? And then Heyman gives Seth the chair. Seth hits Roman in the back with the chair. It hits a stomp, and then Seth wins 1, 2, 3. 4.5 stars. I don't just be giving out 5s, but yeah, I think 4.5 is appropriate. It was a good match. Maybe slightly too much finisher spam rather than like, I don't know, wrestling. But from a storytelling perspective, it did what it needed to do. Not sure I'm liking Seth as a Paul Heyman guy. Unless he's going to change up his character. But I guess we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that was night 1, WrestleMania 41. I'm not sure how quickly I'm going to get this out. I might have to do this audio format only, forgive me. I don't know how these other people get their shit out so quickly. Especially on weekdays. But yeah, anyways, I'll be doing night 2 also when that comes out. Which I'm more hyped for. But yeah, that's all I got.